Hello, welcome back to another episode of Professional Roundtable. My name is Joash, and with us here is Dr. Bosedi Edwards. Today, we're really privileged to bring a guest that we enjoy having over to talk about design and system engineering, which is something very new for me as an engineer, as a former engineer myself. It's a topic that actually quite new to me. And but before we bring him up today, we would like to introduce to you uh, Arrows Education and who we are. If you can have the slides up, Arrows Education, we are a education consultancy and agency. We're operating in over 30 countries around the globe, working together with over 2,500 university institutions, with offering thousands of courses in many different areas. Can we have the slides up, please? Thank you. And covering stages from K-12 to PhD, you name it. We will be able to help you to get connected to universities that offers exactly what you need. And so reach out to us on all our social media or visit us on our website. Submit to us all your transcripts and all your school exam results. And with that, we have a consultant who will reach out to you, analyze all that you have, and provide a few options for you, depending on where you want to go, what kind of career that's suitable for you, or career that you want to do. And from there, we will start the process of applying for admission into these universities, as well as getting you ready for your visa applications and interviews. And finally, we will help manage all your logistics until you settle there in the country of your dream. So if studying abroad is something that you've been dreaming of and you do not know where to start, reach out to us. Let us help you realize your dream of studying abroad. And with this, I would love to introduce to you Joel Ngui into a chat today. Yes. Hi,
Hello.
Joe. Hi, Joe. Good to see you. Joe is a friend of ours, and we actually connected with each other over a conference last year, in August. And at the time, I think there was a transition in his life, and he was looking for a job, and I helped. I helped a little bit, I would say, in trying to get him a job. We're trying to get him over to Penang, but apparently Johor has a better pull on him. And it's so amazing that we reconnected this way. Yeah, with this, I would love to pass the time over to you, Joel. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself, and what you're doing and how do you get there?
Sure. Yeah. Glad to be here. Yeah. Thanks so much, Joash and Dr. Bosedi, for inviting me here. Yes. Um, my name is Joel. I'm currently working as a senior systems engineer for Bissell. It is a vacuum cleaner company. You may have heard of Dyson.
Mm,
Those are Dyson is probably the first name that you think of when you think of household vacuum cleaners for today. Bissell uh, is a competitor to Dyson, and mainly targeting at pet owners. The main target is in America and Europe. Maybe not so. Not the presence is not so much here in Malaysia, but there is an office here, and that's where I'm working right now. Maybe a little bit about my work background, just so you have a picture of what I've been doing. So I studied mechanical engineering. I studied in the US. I studied in graduated in 2016, uh, and then I got my first job there as well. Worked for Stanley Black and Decker as an electromechanical engineer. So if you're familiar with power tools like the brand DeWalt,
mm,
so they make professional
wow.
power tools. So professional grade cordless drill drivers, saws, all kinds of power tools in order to build the world, as they would say. Um, that's what I was doing. I was doing that for 3 years, designing everything related to the electronics that goes into all of these power tools. Um, and then I came back to Malaysia because of visa issues, and then basically my visa was up, so I had to come back, and that was a change. I worked for Maxis for a while, and then right after that, I worked in a small product design consultancy called Expedio Design. I did that for about 3.5 years. We were designing bespoke products for clients. So everything, it was a wide range of products. It could be furniture related products. It could be consumer electronics, but basically it was narrowed down to consumer products. Um, and I was doing that for about 3.5 years. All of this was the Expedio design was in KL. And then just last year, I moved out here to Johor for this job. So that's a little bit about my education, my career runway.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, it does sounds like before this job, your current job in Johor, you're leaning more towards designing consumer products. Is it very different from what you're doing right now, or is there additional responsibility on that?
Actually, it's still within the realm of product design. It's just that I'm looking at it or attacking it from a different angle. So in my previous work, the most recent change from Expedio Design is a very small. You can think of it almost like a prototyping little studio where we used to work together with small companies or entrepreneurs trying to kickstart their new brand, and they needed maybe they lack the engineering or the design resources, so they would come to us and then we work on it. So the kind of work that I was doing was very hands-on, very quick of ideating, designing, prototyping, testing, and then iterating in that process until we reach a milestone. And then if the client is happy, then we will move it to the next stage. That is the design thinking way. Whereas right now in a larger company, in the systems thinking way, it's a little different. It's a little bit more structured, not so quick iterating, but instead you go deep. You study the systems, make sure that you understand the fundamentals and how they relate to each other. It's just a different approach. Um,
Mm.
it is a little bit different, although it's still in product design and product development. Yeah.
Mm. That literally sounds more engineer than what our audience has known what I do, because engineer feels like, oh, you're always like tinkering with things, you're always designing new stuff, you're trying to see if things works or not.
Mm,
Yeah, and maybe one fine day at your work something go kaboom, and that's what engineer, that is what everybody thinks about engineer.
mm,
And that's more a hard engineering kind of thing for you, um, and your thinking process is a lot more technical
mm.
in terms of designing products. Yeah. Did you always know that engineer is something that you want to do?
Um, not strictly, no. Actually, uh, the beginning of my well, I should say, right after I finished high school, I think that's usually when 17 or 18, you're thinking about, oh, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I want to do? And I remember in those years, I spoke to my parents and I said, I want to be a full time musician. I was playing a lot of guitar. I was singing in a band, in a cover band in school. I was also serving in church a lot,
Mm.
and I loved music. I loved performing as well. So I thought, well, why not? Why not do this for a living? So when I had that conversation with my parents, I still remember they kind of like looked at each other, and then they looked at me and they're like, "Hmm, how about you go do your A levels first, and then think about it some more, and then we'll have this conversation later." Uh, and then I did my A levels. I did math, chemistry, and physics. I did well in all of those while still doing music on the side. And then when I graduated from there, and we had the same conversation, I was like, I still want to do music.
Mm.
And then they're like, why don't you take some time and think about it and maybe do some part-time work and explore a little bit, which is what I did. But in the while I was searching, I did find Messiah. That time it was called Messiah College, and now it's Messiah University. They came to my pre-university, and they advertised about the engineering program. I applied. I got a great scholarship, and my parents were like, this is a great opportunity. You should go for it." Yeah, yeah. I could say a lot more. There were a lot of other um, not signs, but like there were other factors that kind of like pushed me a little bit towards engineering. But it definitely wasn't my first choice. Uh, yeah, I don't know if there's anyone out there who has a similar story to me. I feel like there has to be some. It's the classic like I want to do art or something, and then the parents are like, you got to think more practically. Yeah,
But it's more like your parents just like, I don't like what you're thinking, but I'm gonna let give you more time to think about. Like
yeah,
your parents were playing delay tactics with you more than
yeah,
more than
yeah,
actually saying that you shouldn't do this. You know.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's very
yeah,
interesting.
will it be right to say the scholarship did the decision for you?
Um, it definitely had a big part to play. That's for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, I feel like I have to say this. I have to say that now that I'm grown up and then I've worked as an engineer for a while, and I look back, um, even though it was not my first choice, but I'm glad that my parents decided to advise me that way. I'm glad that they said what they said because uh, passion is good, it's great, but it's not the only thing that will get you going and that will keep you going in life. Um, so that there is wisdom in thinking practically. There is definitely wisdom in that. I just couldn't really see it when I was 19. So yeah,
Mm, yeah. So I would say, I mean, the story can be a bit different for everyone, but I think a lot of uh, aspiring teenagers, after their after their high school, it is just a barrage of confusing decisions to make. Like there's a lot of dreams, and of course, what we desire could be, very different from what our parents want for us as well. And so, on your part, what do you think? How did the communication go between your parents and yourself? Like what was something that was helpful from your parents to work through that?
yeah. From my parents, uh, I still remember the moment when uh, I remember I was so like indecisive because I kind of didn't really wanna. I wasn't fully sure whether I wanted to go to the States to study, um, because I really wanted to stay at home for a number of reasons. Um, Maybe music was part of that as well. But I had that conversation with my parents. It was like I must have been like a few days before the deadline to apply for the college because that's typical me. Um, but I remember they said that it's my parents were saying that it's very important that I grow myself, and I may not be able to see at that time. I may not be able to see now uh, the ways that I need to grow, but they were encouraging me. They were urging me. This is a great opportunity for you to grow, and your results are great. Your math, chemistry, and physics. Like, you're a smart kid. Like don't you gotta keep that going.
Don't
Uh,
mess
I want to say this other piece of advice, which was a little more painful, but it was still very eye opening. Uh, Also, my parents had a part to play in it, a good part to play in it. Um, this was a few months before I decided to go to the States to study. I remember my dad. He told me, "Why don't you go and shadow?" Or I don't know if people still say that now, but go and shadow like a professional musician or a studio producer. Why don't you go and shadow them? Go and spend couple of
No,
days
no,
with them and go
continue.
and see whether this is something that you want to do. So I did. And I think 19-year-old me was just kind of like, I didn't really know uh, how to benefit most from that experience. But I spent a couple of days with this studio producer, and um, at the end of those 2 days, he spoke to me and he said something similar. You're a smart kid. You've got good grades, like really good grades. Um, and he asked me, like, do you think you're really good at playing guitar or singing? Like, do you think you're really, really good? And I was like, well, if I say yes, then it's kind of cocky. Um, I mean, to be honest, like, no, I don't really think I'm that great. I think I'm okay. And he's like, all right. And then he said, when I was your age, uh, I didn't have very good grades, uh, but piano was all I had, and so I went for it, and uh, and I stuck with it, and I was really good at it, and I still stuck with it today. Um, and then he was trying to encourage me and say, like, your parents want you to, uh, try to make the best decision with the talents and skills that you have. And in this case, it's your grades. So and you have this scholarship opportunity. So it doesn't mean you don't have to do music. It doesn't mean music has to never be part of your life again. You can still do music, but definitely don't give up this scholarship opportunity. So for me, the aspiring musician, and then after spending some time with a professional studio producer, that was a little hard to swallow. Um, but again, like time and time again, when I think back on those moments, I'm like, yeah, I think there's wisdom in those words, and I'm glad that I went through those times. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like your story, your dad had the wisdom of allowing you to actually be in connection with people who are in the career, who has experience in this, is able to tell you, you know, the good and the bad, and somewhere in the middle, for you, so that you see the reality of that career. Because a lot of times, like when we're young, we have such an ideal view of
Mm,
every career
yep.
that we could think like, oh, I could really do this my entire life and really enjoy doing it. But there's also a lot of pain that actually goes into
Yep.
each and every different career. Like being an engineer, you take maybe a relatively higher salary, but there's a lot of things that you don't enjoy doing. I'm sure, because that was with me, right? Like I enjoy doing engineering, but there are also things that I don't enjoy doing, and it's real for every career, regardless of what it is. And so helping you to see that very clearly is really important. And this is why we do these podcasts like this, to invite people from different fields and different career, and help our students and parents see the reality of each different career. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, Dr. Bosedi, you have any question for Joel?
I just was going to go into the systems engineering part,
Mm.
like explaining it to a layman, what's system engineering to the layman in everyday language, so
Sure.
our yeah, our audience can understand.
Yeah. Sometimes I even struggle to explain it to other engineers. So this is a challenging. This is probably the most challenging question that you sent to me. I'll try. I'll try to use an example to explain it. Um, in my previous jobs, like my first job, I was working as an electromechanical engineer. And just think of any one of the projects. So think of a battery powered cordless drill. Okay, so it has a battery, there's electronics in there. It's got uh, plastic housing to keep all the contents inside. It's got a motor. It's got a gearbox. Um, these are like the main components. So for each of those main components, you have a team. So for example, the electronics team, I was the electromechanical engineer, part of that team. So we would work on the wires, the manufacturing processes, the design of the plastic enclosure for the electronics, uh, So typically, mechanical engineers are those who study mechanical engineering would be on that team. Then you've got the motor team. The motor team would probably be electrical engineers who work on those, or electronics engineers. You've got the software team, so they program the PCB. So you need some software engineering background. Then you've got the outside housing, outside plastic. Those are industrial designers. They may have engineering background or they may have more of a design background. Okay, why am I saying all this? The systems engineer um, needs to be able to understand uh, how all these different subsystems or how all these different disciplines or domains, how they kind of talk to each other. For example, um, if in this drill, all right, and you run it for it has a battery, and with a certain size battery, it's going to run for 30 minutes if you run it continuously. If you were to change the motor to become a more powerful motor, maybe let's say half or twice, more powerful, how is that going to affect the runtime? A systems engineer needs to be able to understand, like, how do you get to that answer, right? And also, like, what are the other potential effects of that change, right? So a systems engineer is thinking uh, about how these different subsystems talk to each other. What are the trade-offs whenever you change something? And that's just within a single product. So here we're still talking about a cordless drill. And usually in a company, you've got a range of products, right? So the system engineer also thinks like, okay, so this motor is in this drill. What other products can it be in? What other uh, architectures can it share with? Can I use this motor in other places? Because the more you share certain components or certain systems, the more you share, then it's better for the company. Basically, it's simpler for everyone, which is it's more efficient and that's good. So a systems engineer not only needs to know how each subsystem talks to each other in one product, but also how the subsystems talk to each other in a range of products. Um, that's
Okay.
in short, I think that's the best way that I can explain what system engineering
So
is.
just to clarify, so the actual job, because the language you used is the systems engineer needs to understand this and this and this. So after understanding, what exactly do they do? What's their own role? Are they managing the coordination of all of these different engineering jobs? So is the system engineer like an engineering management kind of a job, or what exactly is their own role?
Yeah, I like to draw parallels between systems engineers with technical program managers or technical project managers. I think there's a lot of overlap between those two, although I think technically they're not exactly the same, but there is a lot of overlap. For let's say you take a project manager in a project. Let's take the same product, right? The same product if you talk about is the cordless drill. You're gonna have a marketing team. You're going to have the design team, as in the industrial design, and they're going to say, oh, I want this part to be slimmer and smaller. I want this to be lighter, even though it's almost impossible to do, but they'll ask for these things. Then there's the manufacturing team, there's the compliance team. So the job of the project manager is to make sure that everybody doesn't uh, hurt each other during the process and still meet the deadline. That's the job of the project manager. But the systems engineer or a technical project manager will kind of have the same goal but have all the technical understanding. So yes, sometimes the systems engineer's role is maybe consult like the in consulting the specific teams, like, oh, if you change this, then this needs to happen. I would advise against this because of this change, etc., etc. You need to be able to see from a bird's eye view all these different systems and advise them. uh, yeah, so I would say that yes, it can be managerial advisory. And in some companies like mine, you don't only just consult, you're actually doing the actual engineering work or the actual design work. So I have the knowledge of how the systems talk to each other, and then I go and design the thing, and then I go and test the thing. I go gather test data. Me having the technical knowledge, me having the systems engineering knowledge, informs my design, which I think is it's probably the ideal case. Um, as long as I'm not put on too many projects, otherwise I'll have no bandwidth. But that is the ideal case, that all the electronics engineer, the mechanical engineer designing the outside of the product, the motor engineer, that they have the understanding. Because if not, if they don't understand how the systems talk to each other, then they'll just try to meet a requirement without thinking about anybody else. So let me try to give an example to explain that a little better. Maybe the project manager is like, oh, or the sales person in the project meeting is like, oh, we need to beat our competitors by having a more powerful motor. We need a whatever 100-watt motor. Then the motor team is like, okay, let me go and find the 100-watt motor that is the easiest for me to acquire. I'm not going to think about weight. I'm not going to think about the battery capacity of the product. I'm not going to think about cost. I'm not going to think about anything. I'm giving a very extreme example,
Mm.
but that would be designing in a vacuum.
Mm.
I know I work for a vacuum cleaner company, but yeah, that's kind of like designing without thinking about how the systems talk to each other. So, and it's a very reductionistic example, but that's roughly the main idea. You need to be able to understand like how each system talks to each other, what are the trade-offs, and systems engineering knowledge is crucial in this. So yeah.
So essentially, you're playing the toggle, right? Like you're understanding the customer's requirement. In this case, the salesperson's requirement. We need to have a more powerful. We need to deliver a more powerful power tool, for example. But then you're like saying, okay, it's not just about putting in the most powerful motor you have in the market or doing what's easy. Like, so I need to you kind of need to look at that whole design and say like, okay, we need a more powerful motor, but we also need to make sure that it doesn't impact this area, this area, this area, and that's where the limits of the design should be. And then you work with all these designers together to come up with a design
Mhm.
like that, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So you don't actually work alone, because that sounds like you're doing all of this alone, and it's like so daunting, right? So you
No.
don't actually work alone.
Oh, certainly not. Certainly not. Uh, 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 I think what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, many people might think that engineers are not very good at communicating, which I guess is partially true. But I think it's very, very important for
Assumption.
engineers to know how to communicate. It's part of the job. You need to be able to communicate well, because if you don't, then critical information is left out, and poor design decisions, or not only design decisions, but just decisions in general, are made. So no, it definitely don't work alone. Definitely work in a team, even work with people who are not engineers, and that in itself it's an art lah. You need to learn how to communicate something in a way that anyone can understand. I
Yeah.
tried my best with the systems engineering explanation just now, but yeah, yeah.
Did you
Uh,
suffer for it at the beginning of your career? Like, because
Mm.
communication is not being taught at school, right? Or was that something that comes naturally to you?
That's an interesting question. I would say it's a journey for everyone. I really valued my university education in Messiah. Uh, um, it definitely is very different coming from Malaysia. The style of education is different. There's a lot of dialogue that happens even in university. Whereas in Malaysia, at least in school, there's not a lot of dialogue. It's just like the teacher will tell you this is what you're supposed to do. You need to remember this answer. That's it. There's not a lot of dialogue. So communication, yeah, like you said, it's not really emphasized so much in education, or at least it wasn't. I'm not really sure how it is now, but it is a crucial skill in work, and it's not only in engineering. I think in in any career. Communication skills, being able to work in a team, is crucial. Um, so I can't really pinpoint one specific embarrassing moment or anything from my early in my career because of communication skills. No, I think I don't really want to remember anyway. Uh, but yeah, I would say that it's a journey. I'm still learning now, because every time you go to a different environment, it's been a year since I've joined this my current company,
Mm.
and there was still some adjustment that I needed to go through to adjust how to best communicate with my team. Um, yeah, so it's an ongoing process.
Okay, I would like to step back a bit back to your education in mechanical engineering.
Hmm.
So the transition to systems engineering, can you take us through that? Is it something that just happened or something that you consciously walked into?
It's the former. It's definitely the former. Uh, yeah, it very simply it was it was the best opportunity available. So I took it. Uh, yeah, and I think it, sometimes life goes like that. You really, even though you're very clear on what you want in terms of a job, and you send out like 100 applications to that kind of role. Sometimes very few doors open, maybe only even one, and it's not even the door that you really wanted. Um, but sometimes life is like that. Uh, I decided, well, my wife and I, we decided that that was the best move, the wisest move to take. So I just took it. So no, it was not really like a part of my plan to move into systems engineering, but I'm grateful for this opportunity. It's pushed me to grow uh, in areas that I wasn't even planning to, which is good. Sometimes we need that. We don't know what we don't know, so you get put into a position and you're like, oh, there's so much for me to learn. So yeah, I'm glad that I'm put in this role.
Thank you for speaking to that because I think Josh will testify to that as well. Many of the people we've spoken to on this program, it's always been like this for most.
Mm,
And we always try to push this out to school leavers
mm,
because many of them take forever to make a decision.
mm,
Okay, I'm not yet sure what I want to do. And then they are not doing anything. But we are always like, start from somewhere.
mm,
Somehow you find yourself there because maybe what's out there that is waiting for you may not be, maybe something that you don't even have any idea of.
yeah,
But while you're moving, you will get in there. So we always try to emphasize that part. And if you want to say a bit more on that, especially to parents, that would be nice.
yeah. No, I totally agree. I would echo the exact same advice as well. I mean, what I shared earlier about music as well. It's a similar thinking. Um, but you just start somewhere. Start moving. Sometimes the door will open, and if that door that opens is exactly what you want, then that's great. Go ahead and take it. uh, but sometimes some opportunities come up and it's not exactly what you want, but it might be, I'm not saying that it definitely is, it might be in your best interest to just go for it, because you can pick up a lot of things along the way. You don't know what you don't know until you try,
Exactly.
and then you will learn a thing or two. As long as you're open to learning, um, open to trying new things, you will definitely grow. So I'm glad that I did this. It was certainly not an easy decision, um, but I'm glad that we took that leap of faith. So yeah.
Okay, so I would say if you can redo your education again, what will you change? Or your journey, if you can redo, are there things you will change or, I mean, with the benefits of hindsight?
Yeah, yeah. If I could redo my education, The cheeky answer is like, oh, I'll just go and do music. No, I'm just kidding. I no, I, my parents would not be happy with that. I actually think that uh, maybe an unexpected answer, but maybe I would have tried to enjoy myself a little more. It's classic engineering student, spending almost all my time just buried in my books, trying to study and make sure that I score. And I scored well. And okay, it's not like that's all I was doing. I also was involved in track and field, because that's what I was passionate about at that time. I also was involved in music a lot as well, but I was really exhausted. I had so many things going on that I was exhausted, and I pushed myself to do the very best that I could in my studies, for multiple reasons. I have a scholarship. Yeah, uh, but I think I could have enjoyed myself a little more, uh, and that's why I try to tell university students or people who are about to go to university now. I'm like, and I sound like an old uncle or something, but like, hey, make sure you enjoy yourself. Like, hey, yes, don't abandon your studies. Of course, like, be responsible and do your get things done. But also, like, university is a great time, like everything's like planned out for you. There's events, people are there in the same walks of life who have similar interests to you, and all you got to do is just attend some events that are like 2 minutes walk away from you. Like, that's sorry to burst your bubble, but when you grow up and become an adult, it's not always like that. You have to go and seek out opportunities on your own, and things are not always like so nicely planned for you. But in university, it is. So, yeah, just go and like enjoy yourself, go make friends, make connections, try new things. Yeah.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Yeah. Wow, that's really encouraging to hear. Which brings me to a really curious, because you still talk about like you really want to go. If you're really gonna go back, the cheeky answer is to do music. So, what is music to you right now? Like how you doing that right now?
Um, right now, it's a little bit on the in the back seat or on the shelf. I think in the last couple of years, I mean, I got married like 4 years ago. I just celebrated our 4 year anniversary, and that happened in the middle of COVID, like the COVID times. And then with changes of being married and then changing jobs and then moving over here, I think music has been uh, it's a little hard to go all in on music, and it also I also have the time to reflect and think about what is music to me. Do I really want to go all in, and what place does music have in my life right now, and also moving forward for the next 5-10 years. I definitely I'm not gonna like hang up the guitar and never touch it again. That's definitely not the case. Um, but I've accepted that in some seasons of life, maybe it's okay to put it aside and go explore other things. Um, uh, the most regular involvement in music for me right now is in church. I still serve in church. I play on the music team sometimes, and I really enjoy doing that as well. And sometimes I play at home a little bit, but not as much as I did, especially back in uni. In uni, I was like, and right after uni, I joined a band and things like that. In the US, um, being in a music community, finding a music community in the US is a lot. I would say it's a lot easier, or rather, the opportunities are there's far more. I would say it's a very different culture. Um, but yeah, so right now it's not the primary focus, but I still value music very much as part of my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, so not pursuing your music in your education in university does not also mean that you have to hang up that mantle altogether. Like there is still space in your adult life and in certain seasons of your life that you can still find ways to pursue your passion as well. Yeah, because like last week we interviewed this. this ex-colleague of mine who used to be a pro gamer, like, and then he hang up all that, like he put away all that and pursue his engineering career. Uh, and and he's at this stage of his life, right, having an upcoming baby and all that, and so game is just not there anymore. So, but he's still passionate about games. He's still passionate about
Mm.
playing and even designing one.
Wow.
So I have friends who does game designing, which is fantastic. We should invite him to talk about that as well. But that yeah, that's encouraging to hear. It's not a complete giving up of what you're passionate at, but you are also like at this stage of our lives in our 30s and mid 30s, right? Like we are wearing so many multiple hats.
Mm.
Especially for a man, I think there's always different roles that we're playing over the whole thing. So you're not completely defined by what you do as you
Mm.
do a job.
Yeah, I do want to say, I didn't share this earlier, but yeah, I'll repeat myself again that yeah, you don't have to hang up music and never do it again. Like I said, after graduating, I joined a band and everything. I also uh, I wrote an EP, I wrote an album. That was a big dream of mine. Back then, that I wanted to write my own music and release my own music. So I did. I did it. Uh, released my music. It's still out there under my name. If you would like to go search me up on Spotify or YouTube
Mm.
or on iTunes or Apple Music, anywhere that you listen to music, my music is still there. Um, uh, I'm not so sure if I'll do another one. Maybe if the opportunity arises, I'll do another one. But I'm glad that I did that. Um, and at that stage in my life, it was the right time to do it.
Mm.
So maybe the next one is coming. If the opportunity arises, I think I'll do it again. Yeah. So yes, you can still chase your dreams while being an engineer. It is possible.
Only more demanding. Okay, so I have a two-in-one question for you here. What does lifelong learning look like in this field for you?
Mm.
And then what would be your advice for a student who is thinking in terms of system engineering? What should be their first step? How
Yeah.
should they approach developing themselves or going in the path of this career line?
Before you go there, right?
Okay.
You didn't just release one song. You have multiple albums and singles.
They're all part of the same EP, but yeah, I did stagger the releases. But yeah, I have an EP out there.
I guess we should play one of
Oh
those.
no, no, no,
Please,
that's
let's
okay.
play one before you go.
That's okay. That's all right. Everybody please
Yeah.
listen on your own time.
Yeah, yeah. If you're curious, just look for
Sure.
Ngui on Spotify. He's a verified artist.
Unfortunately, I don't do Spotify.
Uh,
It's on
you-
any music platform.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, YouTube
YouTube.
as well. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, to answer your question, the first question you said, what is sorry?
Lifelong learning, continuous development, and
Oh, okay. Just continuous development. Like, what is my goal? Okay.
yeah, what are the opportunities available for the
What's my
education?
long term goal in my career? I think I definitely would like to continue staying in the engineering field. I would like to continue building on my engineering skill set. I last year when I first met Joash and I was applying for jobs, I decided that I still want to continue building on my engineering experience. I know it's quite common for excuse me, for some engineering or for some engineers or engineering students to pivot and do something else, and that's fine. But I don't think that's really for me right now. I want to continue exploring and growing myself in the engineering field. I think there's still, the ceiling is way up there. So there's a lot of things that I can learn. So I want to continue building on that. Whether it's with this company or whether it's with systems engineering, it doesn't have to be, but I know I want to stay in the engineering field. There is a bit of a lofty goal that I have. Yeah, I say lofty because I'm still not really sure how to get there. It's still within engineering. but it's maybe someday I would like to find my way into the renewable energy industry, um, or I should say alternative energy industry. Particularly nuclear energy interests me, and I've been noticing that it's been on the rise in the news right now
Mm,
around the world. I think that the global energy crisis is it's a problem worthwhile, spending hours of your time and effort
looking into.
thinking really hard, how to solve this problem. I think it's something worthwhile doing, especially when you compare it to consumer products. At least that's just for me. So I'm not really sure what the pathway looks like yet for me, but that's kind of I guess you could call it a dream, like a career dream for me. Uh, yeah. And then your second question was, what about,
Your advice to students who are thinking in terms of systems engineering.
hmm, for systems engineering? I mean, I think I'm not sure if there are many degree or courses out there in terms of taking a bachelor's degree
mm,
for systems engineering in particular. Um, there might be out there. Um, I think there's not one, maybe one piece of advice is there's not only one path in order to get there. My path was kind of, I studied mechanical engineering, and then, I went to a few different companies, and then I ended up in this one. Um, I think it's really important that for my role right now, all the experience that I accumulated from my previous jobs and also from a mechanical engineering degree has helped me right now in my career. Meaning to say that if your first step is applying for a mechanical engineering degree program, that's fine too. Or maybe you want to do software engineering, maybe you want to do electrical or electronics. I think that's fine too. I think the engineering discipline uh, is very broad, and there are many
mm.
different doors that you can enter the engineering discipline, and I think any of those would set you up well for systems engineering. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Josh, back to you.
Yeah. Um, I think the I think for every engineers or really technical professional, we always ask this question. With the rise of AI right now and everybody's talking about it, how do you see how AI could be affecting your job? And how does that change the outlook of your job?
Um, hmm. Well, the most immediate change that I see is that at least within my company, like there's all these AI tools that are being provided, and they're always like encouraging you to leverage AI and make the most of it, which I get it. But I think for engineers right now, the use case or the business case is still not very clear. Let me try to use a simple example. Let's say for designing something, let me think a very simple. I Okay, I know of some AI models right now, or some AI services now that you just type in a prompt and say, "Oh, I am trying to design a mechanism that has that needs to power a motor, and it needs to have a gear ratio of this and the space constraint of this, um, uh, and it needs to be under this weight. Design this for me." Okay, I think that prompt actually is way too complicated. But if you simplify the prompt a little bit more to maybe like, oh, I want a mechanism that can move an object uh, vertically with a space constraint of 5 millimeters or whatever. There are some AI models now that are getting there, that able to kickstart uh, your brainstorming process, and it actually like give you some ideas in the form of 3D models. Those AI services are a little scary for mechanical engineers, because it's like, oh wow, if AI can do this, then what am I here for? But honestly, in my opinion at least, I don't think that's gonna totally, like, AI is gonna take over our jobs in engineering. Like, I don't think so. At least not so soon. Maybe it will in 50 years or so. Uh, but
Okay.
there's still so much complexity in, at least in product design, there's so many levers to pull. There's so many stakeholders to talk to. There's so many trade-off analyses. There's so many subsystems that the systems engineer or even other engineers need to be aware of, and how this change makes a change to this. I'm not. I maybe one. Yes. Okay. I don't want to deny. I think AI may reach that point at some point, but I don't think we're there yet. It'll be some time. Um, so I'm still aware of AI. I'm cautious. I think it's still important for me to keep up. I need to learn up how to best use AI. I do use ChatGPT to learn a lot of things on the job actually, and it's very useful. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna take over our jobs so soon. Definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's hope so.
I know Dr. Posedi is gonna be like, no, I don't think so. Dr. Posedi and I are on two very different positions on this topic.
Hmm.
So my thinking comes from I got into AI in 2017
Hmm.
when I was working at a research lab in Johor. And I
Hmm.
remember then my boss, my professor then, we because the project we were working on was tagged uh, creating the future of internet. That was the tag on the entire project we were working on. It was under Kazana National. So, and I remember he used to say then that in the next 30 years to 50 years, we should be thinking in terms of AI being able to actually, have a conversation with us and this and that, and people working from home, and, all of the things that we are seeing now. And that was in 2017. Suddenly, I mean, we were thinking in terms of 30 to 50 years' time. But then suddenly in 4 years, 5 years, we were there where we were hoping we'll probably get to. Then I remember then in my lab, we had a few robots that we do have some small conversations with, but they were not smart at all. They weren't near smart at all. It was just the beginning of a few things that we were trying to try out. I remember I worked on a few projects then. I had a robot teacher at the time that I was working on the project that we tested with high school students, but those systems were not smart. But we're hoping that in 30 years, they will probably get really smart to the point where we could ask them questions and they can respond to us, I mean, with intelligence. 30 years shortened to 4 years, 5 years. I saw that like in my lifetime. So right now, I am in a place where I think that anything that we are thinking will happen in 50 years can actually happen in the next 5 years.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
The competition for achieving super intelligence among the big players is really on, and it's really keen, and everyone is trying to outsmart the other. I mean, US is trying to play, China is trying to outsmart US and all that. And even for those who are deeply into this, some of them are really worried. They
Hmm.
are very worried about what's likely to happen. So I usually try not to think in terms of AI is not likely to take our jobs. Maybe it will. Maybe, and maybe it will happen sooner than we are thinking. I try to keep that mindset and tell myself, okay, if AI takes my job, what next? Yeah, so that's what I want to be thinking about now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is the safer option, and I think I agree with you that it's I may be somewhat skeptical about AI, but it's also safe or wise or good to still keep up with AI, still be knowledgeable, learn up on it, and make the most of it without hurting the environment, because there are some environmental repercussions of AI, but that's a totally other separate conversation. But yeah, definitely keep in the know and know how to use it, and um, yeah, because AI really is moving very fast. I agree with you on there. Even in the last 2 years, actually, things have been moving very, very quickly with AI, and um, it might hurt more to not know what's going on. So it's a good thing to keep up. Um, yeah, to just brush up on AI. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Joel, you remember those years when our parents would struggle to teach us a technology that for us is so that we take for granted. I
Hmm.
think that those times are coming for us.
Yeah.
That we will have hard time. Like, what is this to
Yeah.
to younger people?
Yeah.
Uh, I hope we'll keep up with that,
Yeah.
but it's just moving too fast.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been like, for me, AI is such a wonderful tool, right? Also because I was one of the first few one that was really excited that ChatGPT came up. Today, AI is helping me to do all my accountings,
Hmm.
and making sure that I'm doing my calculation correctly, do my research. I use the AI on my like Copilot more than I actually uses Google search right now. So
Yeah, yeah. Google search has become a Google search is also pivoting into AI. I
yeah,
Yeah.
think for us at the university environment, I think that's where the biggest challenge with AI is. Right now, everyone is. We have AI task force in practically every university now because
Hmm.
you just can't get the students to think again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not listening. You ask them a question before you finish it, they ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You give them an class activity, they ask ChatGPT. You ask them to, maybe do some designs, they give to Canva AI, and it does a nice job. So it's really challenging. Schools are now like, what do we do? How do
Hmm.
we give exams? I mean, it's almost impossible to give exams now, except when you say, okay, you cannot bring your phone in, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, which it's very challenging, and even teachers are divided over this because I am personally on the side of the students. I feel like, what's the point? You're asking them not to use it. If they go out into the world of work, they are going to use it. School is about preparing them for the world of work. So if they're going to use AI over there, why can't they use AI in the classroom now? But the problem is we are very, very confused on what to do with assessment.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to force it to make sure that, okay, we prevent them from using AI, which it's not going to work. It's not
Yeah.
working anyway.
It's a yeah. It's a very unique and problem, or yeah, it's yeah, very unique problem to schools today that we didn't have to go through.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, that sounds very challenging. If it's worth anything, my opinion is that I agree with you that yeah, students should be trained on how to best use AI, like how to use it well, like how do you prompt
Right.
the AIs to so that you can get the output that you really need. But also, if you are talking about design, then you should teach them about the fundamentals of design. Not only like how to prompt AI give me a good design for this poster, like, well,
Yeah,
okay,
and I
great.
mean, that's in the syllabus, but then you teach them, you don't even know if they are listening.
Mm, yeah, that's hard. That's very tough.
yeah. Uh, to give you a bit comfort, Dr. Bossetti, that's what my lecturer says about myself as well. So he doesn't even know if I'm listening at lecture with or without AI. So
Yeah, yeah,
so yeah, it's been really fun to explore this. I think system engineering, it's something that even I myself am not really um familiar with, but it makes sense actually. This is a job for somebody who knows design as a whole, and actually seeing all the pieces together. Design a system engineer looks a bit like having all the pieces of puzzles and putting all of them together, and you need somebody like that. Otherwise, how would a car work together? There's so many parts, so the system
exactly.
engineer puts them together, and it's such an amazing, wonderful job that the world runs on people with such knowledge working together, putting pieces together, that we may enjoy technology in our life and it makes lives better. And it's a really noble profession that I would encourage our students and our parents actually consider pursuing. And if you have questions whether or not this where you can pursue mechanical engineering, which is everywhere, in most universities that has engineering courses offered, usually offers mechanical engineering. Is one more most popular engineering courses to take as well. It's also extremely difficult. That's why I steer away from it, because I want to enjoy my student life. I know Joel is like, oh.
I mean, he's not wrong. Not for the faint-hearted.
It is
A
not
lot
for
of engineering students change their major in the first year.
the
Most of them, yeah.
yeah, but it does take grit, and it does take perseverance to go through that. And yeah, it's not all sunshine and meadows, but it's worth pursuing. And so we'll encourage you to reach out to Arrows Education if you have questions about any courses that you want to take. One of the things that Joe also mentioned was how his experience was changed, very different, because he was able to study in Messiah University outside of the country. And studying abroad offers you a lot of experience that you might not get from within your country. It opens your eyes, opens your horizons, opens your perspective on culture, on work ethics, and a lot of things, and it trains you up. And so reach out to us, and we'll help you get started on your dream of studying abroad. With this, we'd like to thank Joe for joining us on Professional Roundtable. It's such a privilege to speak to you.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having me.
yes. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, I think we should leave.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna stop the live. All right. Okay.
I can't control it, so
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Thanks again for having me. Yeah. Take care.
bye.
Bye bye.